What is up, people of the internet? It is Dave, it is Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another tech review. Part of the channel, we review the latest tech, from wired headphones to Bluetooth earphones to microphones and more. For this review, we are checking out the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay HX wireless over-ear headphones.
Can I just interrupt you for 2 seconds and say that I was mocked mercilessly at a recent meeting when we were exchanging these headphones that I'd never heard of Bang & Olufsen, right? I'd never heard of them before. And I will admit this, whilst I do enjoy technology and gear and whatnot, I have a certain lane and I like certain things. And Shure, for example, as a vocalist, I've used many Shure microphones, so I will buy a Shure microphone before I'll go and see what the rest of the market's saying. That's my cross to bear, and that's why this channel is so fun, because we get to explore these things. However, what I did realise, literally, and this is the old analogy of, you know, like you can stand at a bus stop and not see a bus for ages, and then all of a sudden 3 come along. The speakers on my work laptop, it's actually written on my work laptop, on the keyboard that I use every day and have for the last 3 years, says in clear, broad, white text, Bang & Olufsen. So ain't I the prick? Could not believe it. Could not fucking believe it. I was like, it's been in front of me the whole time.
Son of a bitch.
It's like when Bruce Willis found out he was dead in The Sixth Sense. Can we still spoil that? Is that okay?
I think we've hit that point. Yeah.
Is that okay? Like, is the moratorium for spoilers
We're
in
good.
that movie passed? Cool. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so Beoplay HX by Bang & Olufsen. Here is what we know. Here is the tech spec, ladies and gents. Crafted from premium materials to stay comfortable on the head over the long listen. A minimalist Scandinavian aesthetic that feels as good as it looks. Every line and curve has been meticulously engineered for headphones you don't want to put down. Featuring lambskin leather, memory foam cushions, and an ergonomic pressure-relieving headband that fits different types of head, all brought together by a lightweight aluminium frame. These versatile over-ear headphones give you cocoon-like comfort that lets you listen all day and night.
Cocoon-like comfort, eh? Cocoon-like, like fucking Steve Gutenberg. Out of nowhere. Wilford Brimley levels of comfort. That top bit there is ribbed for your pleasure.
Yes, it is. The headphones have Bluetooth 5.1 to ensure a super stable wireless connection. USB-C charging, which takes about 2 hours to fully charge. Lasts up to 35 hours of playback with ANC, the noise cancelling, or 40 hours without ANC. The hybrid ANC also compensates for background noise to remove distractions. The headphones have 6 microphones built in, are multi-point capable of 2 devices at one time, and are also IP53 dust and waterproof.
Right, an intruder could break into your house behind you, and these headphones would not let you hear it.
Or would they?
I don't know. Like, at this stage, with those headphones, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I wouldn't put it past these headphones actually jumping off your head and assailing the would-be robber and tying themselves round comfortably his wrists until the police arrive.
The HXs have a frequency range of 20 to 22,000 hertz. Come with custom-made 40mm drivers with neodymium magnets to deliver the B&O signature sound, with beautifully balanced bass, treble, and a richly detailed mid-range, which can also be adjusted with the Bang & Olufsen app. Price-wise, they are currently selling on Amazon at £399, which also includes a carry case. So, Duncan and I have spent some time with the headphones to get a feel for the overall look.
Took
and
them out
sound.
for a romantic dinner, Dave, and then called them back in the morning to make sure they got home safe.
Yeah, no tongues though, no tongues.
Oh, never first date.
As usual, before we get into the sound of the headphones, let's just talk about the packaging first. This is what's in the box.
What's in a bag?
This comes with the usual user guides, warranty cards, all that sort of stuff. You get this very sexy carry case.
And by the way, that carry case, like some people, like with their packaging, right, will give you, it's like an Amazon delivery. Other suppliers are there where you get a giant box and you open it and there's nothing in it. You have to, like, that box fits that box, right? That
Yes.
carry case gets in there with no fucking room to spare.
Yeah, just look at that.
Well, that's like literally, it's like
How tight that is.
there's literally no breathing room in
No,
there.
there's not. And then inside the box, obviously the headphones and this little contraption at the top where you'll get your USB-C charging cable and a 3.5mm aux cable as well.
You managed to put the thing back on that. I couldn't get the. I was like that. Dave will do it. He's more nimble than me.
So usual kind of standard stuff in the box. Let's go on to the design and the build quality. We'll come on to sound and comfort in a second, but in terms of the design, build quality, I mean, I must say these are some pretty sexy headphones.
I love the design.
Yes,
I've got
I
to
do.
still like they look like a proper pair of modern headphones.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They had like as soon as I took them out the box, they had a kind of premium feel about them. The materials, especially used, are very kind of high quality. Nothing about these felt like flimsy or like hollow. They feel sturdy, but they feel classy at the same time. I think, for me, out of all the headphones we've reviewed, I think these might be my favourite to look at. Like the ones when I took them out of the box, I was like, yes, those look like a sexy pair of headphones. Very, very contemporary.
Scandinavian.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It is.
Yeah.
It's very Scandi looking. When you look at them, they look like someone has literally stood over an easel designing them with pencil originally and then painting this beautiful kind of like representation, this cold, stark but yet functional representation of what headphones should look like.
Yes.
And as a result, you take them out, you're like, this is what headphones look like.
Yeah. Feels luxury. So yeah, like in terms of design, build quality, love them. Thought they look very high end, which I love. So onto the weight and comfort of the headphones. These weigh in at 285 grams, which is fairly standard, to be honest. Most headphones are somewhere between 250 and 300. In most cases, unless you're Apple, obviously. Shots fired.
But look how strong your neck is now, Dave.
My neck's fucked, by the way. I'm not joking. I've had serious neck problems this week.
People talk
That's not a lie.
about you're like years of headbanging. Nah, it's years of like Apple Air Max.
I mean, Duncan, can you put into words what these headphones are like to wear? Can you?
What did I say to you when I handed them back to you? I was like that. Oh, by the way, this might be the comfiest pair of headphones you've ever worn, right? And I stand by that, right?
Yeah.
These are some of the, like, to the point where you forget you're wearing them,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's not the cushion along the top, and the fact that the cushion isn't one continuous shape. It is actually indented to actually fit the contours of your head. So like it's not sitting on the top and not covering it. It's actually it's kind of well cushioning it.
Yeah.
The cushions on the ears as well. Now I wore these for in one sitting close to 5.5 hours, and my ears didn't feel warm or sweaty.
No.
They've got really good ventilation in them.
Yep.
But the build is like, for something as light as it is, it feels sturdy when you put them on. Like it's not once again, Apple study where you let that, and all of a sudden you're taken back to that scene in the movie Casino where the guy's head's trapped in a vice. But it's not that sort of thing, but they do clamp on. And most headphones do. You feel them when they go on. Right? Oh, these aren't going anywhere. These don't feel like they're going anywhere. And I dare say, if you want to do like a kind of test, they're not going to fly off.
Yeah.
But they're so. You forget you're wearing them. I'd like easily, of all the headphones we've reviewed, and I may even go as far as to say, of all the headphones I've ever worn, I think they're the most comfortable headphones I've ever worn in my entire life.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, what's the catch? And you have to hang around till later on to see if there was any catch. But what about you? Like we are follically different.
Yeah.
So I have a natural cushion on my head which protects me. You, on the other hand, don't have that natural cushion, which means, in general, headphones are either going to be okay for you or they're going to fucking suck. How did these feel?
I tend to find the majority of headphones, I do get a bit of kind of pain on the top, like kind of pressure on the top of my head, a little bit of discomfort after a certain period of time. These were an absolute dream to wear. I can't put into words how soft it feels around your ears. Comfortable over the head, very lightweight. I could easily wear these for hours on end without feeling any discomfort. I'll tell you what, when I'm sitting working at my desk, I'll have the headphones on.
Yep.
And then if I get up to go to the kitchen to make a drink or whatever,
I take them off.
Usually take them off. I actually forgot I had them on, and I just got up and just started doing what I was doing. I came back and I didn't take them off. Usually I'm like, need a wee break, take them off for a few minutes, whatever. I didn't have that with these at all. Like, I didn't have the need to take them off. So like, I would agree with you. I think these possibly could be the most comfortable headphones I've worn.
I've been racking my brains to think of all the headphones I've owned in the many years that I've been on this planet, and I can't think of one that is as comfortable as the ones that you currently have on your head.
Yeah. Like, I wore these for hours, a good 3-4 hours, and was fine. Like, I didn't have any issues at all. So that's going to take us on to the next part of this, Duncan, where we get into the most important part of these headphones.
Well, it's the bit where people are like, I thought they review albums.
Yeah.
You're like, shut your face.
What does the sound like of these headphones? That's what we're going to talk about next. As always, we checked out a classic metal album to go with this headphone review. And again, decided to pick something that we were, familiar with, have listened to many times, so we could compare how the album sounds through these Bang & Olufsen headphones. The album we chose for this review was
this time.
Duncan's choice. Osk Dis by the Mad Capsule Markets.
2001, Dave.
2001, Duncan. Well, apparently, according to the internet, it was released in 1999 in Japan, and then 2001 over here and in the US.
So it got released. So the reason it got released later is one, like, people probably can't work. Like the youth of today are just used to everything being there. That's not how things worked 20 odd years ago. Literally, the Japanese music scene, still to an extent, is there's so many bands over there that will never experience anything beyond Japan. Like, it'll be huge in Japan, big in Japan, but not anywhere else, right? And like, Mad Capsule Markets were one of the first of the metal bands to make that like impact on kind of Western audiences around the right time. So, without going to a history lesson, like Japanese horror movies from '99. This is when you're starting to get The Ring, Audition. Like, all these movies are starting to like work. So all of a sudden, the culture of people that live alternative lifestyles are now looking to the east. This was like their 9th album, I want to say. They've been on the go for fucking ages.
I think I did take a note. Eighth album, I think.
8th album,
yeah.
Right. So they've been on the go for ages, right? And had been primarily...
I didn't know they become active in 1985.
Yeah, they've been on the go for years.
I didn't realise that at all.
Yeah, well, they started off as a punk band. Like, they were like kind of surfer punk is what they did. And predominantly their stuff was written by their bass player, who wrote most of the material. So you listen to early Madcap stuff, it is 2 steps away from being ska punk, which explains their foray at times back into that genre. It's never quite gone. And then Four Plugs kicks in about, it's like 95, 96, and they start experimenting with harsher, more kind of industrial tones. And by the time you get to Os Dis, they've really encapsulated like everything.
How do you even like classify this album?
Right, so it's a J-rock album, right? So like Japanese metal is never like linear, right?
No.
There are bands that are just like a thrash band or a death metal band, but like the mainstay of what makes it an exciting place and also a frustrating place, if you're Dave, to listen to music is that they are like they're genre mixers. Like they literally blend. They're the NutriBullet of genres. They just blend things into smooth paste and then pour it in a glass and say drink it. And Os Dis was the first experience I had with music that genuinely dumbfounded me the first time I listened to it. It was just like that. This is like, it's like full on garage drum and bass. Like computer game soundtracks, like Street Fighter soundtracks, and like sound effects and soundtrack sort of things put in the background. Kind of quasi-industrial and new metal guitars, and distorted rap vocals. Like looped together and just flung at you. And I've been a huge fan ever since. I absolutely love them. I got the privilege and pleasure of seeing Mad Capsule Markets live at King Tut's, and they blew my tits off.
King Tut's as well. Wow.
Tut's, the people were swinging from the roof. They were just like absolutely nuts. And they're such an unassuming band to look at. This album to me is, I would say, like.
Would you say this is the one that kind of put them on the map?
100%. Yeah.
Over here, anyway.
So like basically they had a huge following in Japan already at that point. This is the album where the sound started to morph into something that people out with Japan, and they didn't westernize their sound to make it something that would acclimate. It just it was on, its finger was on the pulse of culture at the time. The music videos were all kind of like pre Y2K, like video, like weird graphic-y things. And the music was angsty. New metal was huge, so you were listening to bands that were mixing industrial, funk, rap, and all the rest. So all that, like, that album landed at the perfect time for their sound, which got people excited in them. The thing is, they only really did 2 albums after this, and then kind of called it a day.
Yeah.
And I think they're still technically not disbanded, they're on hiatus, but that hiatus has been like 20 years, so I'm going to assume they're not coming back. All off doing different things, some artistic, some musical. And I've said it before, without Mad Capsule Markets, I don't think you have bands like Fact. I don't think you have bands like Pale Dusk, who we both fucking love. I don't think those bands exist in a world where Mad Capsule Markets hadn't put like an aggressive style of genreification of lots of different styles together. The beauty of Os Dis is it kind of sounds like a first album. It kind of captures all that rawness of like an Atari teenage, right? Who themselves had been on the go for like 15 years by that point as well. They were a kind of late 80s, early 90s kind of German art punk industrial head fuck of a group. And that's what you get with these guys here. But it's much more conventional and at times very, as the Japanese would say, kawaii, like cute in parts, like Good Girl. It couldn't be any more, and you tend to find the bassist did a lot of those vocals. So whenever they go ska punk, because their singer can't really do that, he can only rap. So whenever there's like cheesy melody or whatever, the bass player's doing that. Interestingly enough, I think they were a 3-piece for a long time, and the heavier guitar stuff came in much later on in the band's like style, and as a result, you get that kind of shift in their tone. This one here. The reason I chose it is that I hadn't listened to it in a while, and I thought if we're going to do headphones, we always pick albums that are meticulously produced.
Yeah.
Os Dis is not a meticulously produced. It's a very messily produced album, actually. And at times, as a result, the listening can be weirdly inconsistent. Like there is no, like, Brad Boatwright mastering Os Dis would be fucking Like if they want to do a remix and get it to him.
Yeah, I was like surprised to see this was recorded and produced by the band.
Yeah. Well, it'd be predominantly by the bass player who wrote pretty much everything. All the drumlets are him. Which like is kind of remarkable to think of until we saw Church of Misery. And they were like, oh, like the bass player writes all their stuff as well. And we're like, maybe that's just what happens in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, they're all very gifted at what they do, but like the listening experience will go from things that are very distorted, almost to the point that they're nigh on unlistenable, to elements that are very saccharine sweet. The drums themselves at times are like maybe too high in the mix, and at other times a little bit maybe lacking in the mix. The reason I love it is, as an album, I think as a musical element, to me it's a formative album. To me it made me think about music completely differently. But the reason I chose it for the headphones is like, if we're going to put a headphones through their pace, let's maybe not go with Gojira from Mars to Sirius, which is an immaculately produced album, which we know is
sounds
going to
good
sound
on anything.
you know what I mean? Like, it's going to sound great.
Yeah.
Let's put something and see how it handles distortion, and I mean like real distortion. I am pleased to say the Bang & Olufsen like handled it like it was like hot knife through butter, baby. Like instantly. And we talked about this when we did, I think, our very first review of headphones. We talked about listening to White Pony by Deftones and saying you start to pick out things. I was picking out tons of sounds that I've literally never heard on this album. Like weird electronics, parts of the loop which were different, computer game soundtracks that I had never heard that are buried so far in the mix. Just like, it just sounded like an almost like a remastered version of the album through the headphones. So coming back to it was like exciting to come back to the album. And we could have went to like the album that came after it, which is a much more cleanly produced album, or even their final album, which is, if anything, it is the most immaculate the band ever sounded. We could have went down that road, but where's the fun in that? How did you like? Because the production is fucking whack. How did you get on with Bang & Olufsen's Osdis Mad Capsule Markets? It's a lot of words in a sentence here.
Yeah.
How'd you get on with it?
I mean, it's like, I think it's been at least 10 years since I've listened to Osdis.
Wow.
At least, yeah. So this was a trip down memory lane. Totally forgot there were. If you've never heard, or thinking, I've never heard of Mad Capsule Markets before, but if you played Tony Hawk 3.
You 100% heard that track. You're
heard.
probably like that. This is great. I need to do more I need to explore this more, and then you never did it.
Yeah, they were on the soundtrack for Tony Hawk 3. If you had an old PlayStation or PS2 maybe, then you probably heard this band. I think when I was listening to it, I was thinking, I don't think I realised how far ahead of the times Mad Capsule Markets were.
Over a decade ahead of the times.
100%.
So it's insane. I think music is still catching up to the Mad Capsule Markets in a lot of respects.
I think that I was thinking like there's bands that are doing this sort of stuff now, like almost 20 years later, and people are hearing that and going, "Whoa, this is different, man." Actually, no, it's no. Mad Capsule Markets and bands like Atari Teenage Riot were doing this stuff decades ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great album. Like, I forgot how good this album was.
Yay.
It kind of makes me gutted that I wasn't as into this band when this came out as I am now.
I tried, man. I tried, but you were in a different headspace. You were like Meshuggah. So like, I'm like, Mad Capsule Markets, and you're like Meshuggah though, and I'm like that. But listen, you're like, but it has a track called Good Girl, and it's like, Good Girl. It's all like happening, and I've got nothing. Right? And nothing is better than...
Yeah,
Time Bullet, I keep saying this, you give me 20 years, almost anything I had an opinion on is proved right. It's like, you just need to hang around for 20 years. I know it's frustrating, but I'm a visionary. So
yeah. The production of this album is very interesting. As I said, it originally came out in 1999 and then released over here in the US in 2001. It's not as polished as a lot of electronic or industrial stuff that you hear now. Like if you take like bands like Health or Ghost, this sounds nothing like those albums. But it has a lot of character. Almost, it feels like it's almost been produced like a punk album in a lot of ways.
Yeah. The bass is very prominent in the mix.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yeah. Like the bass has like that kind of real kind of like grit and rawness to it. And the guitars are very kind of fuzzy. Drums are typically punchy like they would be on a punk album. In terms of how it sounded through these headphones, it was an interesting start for me. So when I first hit play, like right out of the box, obviously just neutral sound, nothing, didn't tweak any EQ, nothing like that. Hit play and I was like, I know this is supposed to be fairly balanced, but I wasn't overly excited. The initial sound of these didn't excite me. My first instinct was, I need to EQ these because at the moment, they were a little bit lifeless for me.
Vinyl has changed you so much, man, honestly.
I'm just looking for that perfection all the time, Duggan.
All the time now.
I was like, right, okay. It's okay. I mean, it's listenable, absolutely listenable. It's fine, but I'm not like, wow, this is insanely good. So, like, let's get into the B&O app. So I got the app up on my phone, went into that, got them all synced up and stuff, and then I go into the sound part. There's different sound modes when you go into it, and there's a bunch of presets there from like podcast settings. You've got a workout setting or like a commute, that type thing. Depending on what you're doing or listening to. To be honest, I didn't like any of them. Went through them all, was like, no, don't like any of that. But you can.
You know who knows better? Big Dave and Duncan.
I should have designed your app. That's all.
Like,
I'm saying.
let's say, so you've got commute, you've got podcast, you've got workout, and you've got Davey.
However, you can create your own EQ. You can customize it for yourself. So you get this kind of like EQ wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And then basically there's a little dial and you basically spin it about the wheel and it gives you different basically EQs. So I tried my best to get like a nice bit of bass, good mids and highs that are kind of cutting through, but don't sound too harsh. And I managed to get a fairly decent EQ on it. The app is shite. I'm going to be totally honest. The app is garbage. In terms of EQing on the app, there is not enough control on it. Absolutely not. You've got the presets and you can customize it to an extent, but it doesn't allow you to EQ on a more granular level, I suppose. You can't increase the bass or like treble or mids in increments. It's not like in numbers. You just have this little kind of thing you're moving about.
By feel, Dave. You have to do it.
Yeah, basically. So took me a little while, but I got a sound that I was reasonably happy with, and then I could sit back and listen to the album again with the EQ. And I'll give it as due. It sounded much better than it did on my first listen when I hit play the first time. In terms of the actual sound, the sound stage is actually really good. So you get a really kind of suitably wide sound stage, meaning that the mid-range frequencies are pushing through nicely. You've got there's plenty of control there. You've got a low end that packs a nice punch, and the treble is it's forceful, but it's not it's not without being sharp at the same time. When it comes to like metal, rock, punk, sounds great. Those heavier songs on Osdis, like Tribe or Out Definition or Multiples, sounding nice and thick. Good crunch in the guitars, plenty of girth in the bass and drums. As I said, the production's kind of more kind of punk orientated, but when the tracks the sound kind of veers into more industrial territory. That also sounded really good. So like Mob Track or Restart, which has the big kind of industrial drums, heavy on the electronica and the synths, sounded great. And as the detail and the background, very good as well. Like tracks like Midi Surf, which has like lots of stuff going on in the background, could hear all that clear as a bell. Whereas when I played it the first time, I was a bit like, okay, it's there, but it was a little bit kind of slightly muddy.
There's a counter melody at the very end of Midi Surf, which goes up into this register that I can tell right now and I've listened to this album easily over 50 times. I have never heard.
Yeah,
it didn't exist until I put these headphones on.
Yeah,
and like the look on my face Like, honestly, it was 2 seconds away from being the picture of the Scream.
Mm.
I was like, what the actual... Like, where did that come from? Turns out it's always been there, Dave.
Right.
Always been there. Just
Yeah.
not in my headphones.
So yeah, I like as a kind of full album listen, really enjoy coming back to this album. I forgot how good it was, to be honest. And I once I got that EQ more to my liking, much more enjoyable listen than the kind of first play of the album. So yeah, sounded really good. Really impressed. Once again, just my preference. Once I tweaked it right, it was good. And it was you same for yourself. Obviously, you
Oh, yeah.
had a good time listening to that.
Yeah, like, I will always have a good time listening to the Mad Capsule Markets.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my listen with the headphones.
Yeah.
Tell you what I followed it up with, though.
Tell me what you followed up with.
I've been on, like, I don't know what, like, I go through phases, right?
Yeah.
And right now, there is a huge Jamiroquai phase for me.
Fucking no way.
You're shocking me.
I listened to Jamiroquai as well. That's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, Traveling Without Moving was
Same
like,
album. Absolutely same album.
was the second album I put on.
No fucking way.
I was like, literally what I shoved on it. We've spent too much time
That's ridiculous. I pressed, weirdly enough, I pressed play on, is it Synchronicity? Is that the album after that?
together. Yeah.
I played, I think, is that the one that starts with Canned Heat? I think. I hit play on that and I was like, nah, I need to go earlier.
So,
And I
we need to
jumped
go
back.
earlier.
Yeah.
Need to go deeper underground, Dave. Too
And
much
then
panic in this time.
And then I jumped to that album. That's so
like
weird.
Virtual Insanity kicked in, and I swear to God, I got visibly erect. Right, like just like so bright sounding. Virtual Insanity is a great song anyway, in that it has like every instrument known to man on that track, like everything from like kind of acid jazz, like symphonics in the background, the fucking the bass work.
Yeah.
You can never sleep on the bass work on a Jamiroquai album. The bass work on Traveling Without Moving is fucking absolutely goddamn nuts. It's bananas. Like,
Yeah,
bananas, B.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's like incredible. But it sounded just so warm and so rich. And yeah, like maybe my favourite listen. I hadn't listened to the album in a few years as well. Tend to listen to, like, I'll do our greatest hits or whatever with Jamiroquai, but the whole album just was fucking incredible.
I can't
How
believe that.
weird is that?
That is so weird. Can't believe that.
1 mind, man.
I know.
One
That's
mind.
nuts.
What else did you listen to? What did you listen to?
I did quite a few things. So I mentioned to you, what was that, last week I saw you, but I've been on a bit of a hardcore run recently.
You have been. Hardcore Dave is making he's come out of hibernation.
Very, very obsessed with hardcore at the moment. And last week I'd been listening to loads of Australian stuff, but I kicked off, after I listened to Mad Capture Markets, I went to Hail Destroyer by Cancer Bats.
I've also listened to that in the last week, which is fucking...
What's going on, man?
Show up on my phone. You keep talking because I'm just going to take a snapshot. It literally is in my most recently listened to, because I was listening to it like literally during the week. So
yeah, like as I kind of said, the kind of punky hardcore stuff on the Mad Capture Markets album sounded great through these headphones. So this album sounded fantastic. Excellent presence, really nice clarity in the drums and the guitars. Nothing sounded muted or subdued, and the bass nice and full on the album. Really great listen for that one. I went a little bit heavier. I went into Hold It Down by Madball. Very similar results, to be honest. It's a slightly more meaty guitar tone, but more metallic. Sounded excellent. Plenty of muscle in the mix. And even for an album that came out, this is like 25 years old, this album sounded great. I went a wee bit heavier again on the next one, but went a bit more minimalist in instrumentation, just to see what the kind of separation was like on this album. I went for Tuskar and Matriarch, which sounded huge, man. Like this, if you've never heard Tuskar before, 2-piece sludge doom band from the UK. It's an album with no real kind of like frills. It's dense and thick, and like it's produced by Joe Clayton, so it sounds awesome. And again, plenty of clarity and detail through the headphones. No real criticisms with that one. Finished it off with something a bit lighter, down a more kind of like slightly better produced, more kind of pop kind of traits. Last year, right at the end of the year, I heard an album by a guy called McGee. It's spelled MK.GEE. And it came out earlier in the year, but I didn't hear it till December. And I think I sent it to you guys. I was like, check this out. The album was called 2 Star and the Dream Police. I fucking love this album. Like, last year, if I'd done a top 10 list of like non-metal albums, this would have been very close to the top. Like, love it. It's like kind of indie alternative. It's kind of lo-fi R&B as well, but it's got this kind of 80s kind of influence to it. Love the album. It sounded great on these, like, pop stuff in general has a very good kind of warmth and bottom end on these headphones. It came through really nicely. So when I moved from that I listened to Daft Punk's Homework, and then right into Traveling Without Moving by Jamiroquai. That stuff that's very well produced and has a lot of kind of natural tones on it is like it's bread and butter for these headphones. And even like the bits on the Traveling Without Moving with the like bits of strings and brass cut through nicely, like really good.
It sounded like a recorded now album.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's absolutely nuts.
So for me, like, these headphones, they handled multiple genres very well. Really, really good all-rounders, actually. Are they the best headphones I've heard? I think sound quality, I think the Apple Max, AirPods Max still is slightly better sound quality than these, just like by a little bit. There's a little bit more something, a little bit more detail, or a little bit more kind of richer kind of tone coming through on the
you don't have to go in and do any EQ on them. That's the big thing with it. One of the big selling points, in my opinion, for the Max headphones is you really like it. You can play almost any genre. You don't have to touch anything. Just they do it. So
I'd still probably put them above these, but obviously they come with the Apple price tag as well. But yeah, these are still very much worth considering, to be honest. The sound was very good out of these. I was very impressed. What else? Okay, so that sound. I need to talk about noise cancelling. I think this is where they dropped the ball a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say. I don't think I've heard cheaper headphones have better noise cancelling than these ones.
I think this is possibly my kind of main gripe. The ANC on these is very, very middle of the road, to be honest. Within the app you can switch between the ANC, on and off, and I could literally hear very, very little difference between switching it on and off on the app. Like, it was minimal. And for this price point, like, these are on Amazon at 400 quid. I think this feature should be better. Like, I think the quality of the ANC should be better on these. And unfortunately, compared to other headphones we've reviewed, it just wasn't there. You can still hear quite a lot of background noise. I mean, it does block out some noise, but it wasn't as complete blackout as I've had on other ones. Again, like the Apple ones, the noise cancelling is excellent.
Yeah, you could literally be out on a road with a bus coming towards you, beeping its horn, and you'd be hit with the bus. So.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it may be the design of the.
Possibly.
It's a two-sided sword here, because these are beautifully soft and comfortable, but then they maybe don't give you the complete suction that you get from other headphones.
with other headphones, they're not fully all-encompassing, like every like space or injury. Yeah, so it's going to bleed in a little bit.
But I mean, like, if you play anything loud enough, it'll block it out. But if you're playing your music at acceptable levels of volume, then ANC I thought was kind of average. That was my experience anyway. Is it similar for yourself?
Yeah. So it's one of the things I'm actively trying, because like I was so won over with the Apple ones with their noise cancelling that is almost one of the first features I will put on, is to see how that handles it. And you're right, it's not as good, and I kind of feel like somewhere in between there's a headphone company somewhere out there that has managed to marry the two. Yeah, that level of silky comfort with the ability to just make not any noise that isn't the music fuck up your listening experience. But yeah, it wasn't. And like, I wasn't aware of the price point, and when you mentioned that earlier on, my eyes, I think you watch it back, they do go a bit like this, because they're not the cheapest headphones.
No. No.
And there are other organizations out there doing cheaper headphones and doing that element better.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I would agree. Other wee things, Bluetooth. I didn't have any issues on the Bluetooth front.
Like connected quicker than a lot of the headphones we've tried already.
Yeah.
Like my iPhone, other phones are available, just like locked in straight away, and I was
Yep.
like, all right, we're golden. I didn't download the app, so I never had the user experience that you had. So
Yeah, I as I said, I wore these about the house. From going from or at work with my laptop, walking from room to room, and I tried leaving my device next to my computer, and these never broke connection or anything like that. So on the Bluetooth front, I think the range they give is up to about 12 meters, but that gives you a rough idea. But I never had any issues with the Bluetooth. Battery life, excellent. So 35 hours with ANC switched on, 40 hours with it switched off.
2 hours to charge is not a long
Yeah.
time to get that out of it. So
So yeah, I would say these are on the higher end of the battery life scale. If you think about like AirPods Max are about 20 hours, Sony XM5s are about 30 hours. With these, you're getting 35 or 40 hours, so that's pretty good on the battery front. And I gave these a good 3-4 hours of use. Hardly noticed a dent in the battery, to be honest. So no issues on that front. Final thing, ratings. What would you rate the Beoplay HXs by Bang and Olufsen?
So I'm going to come in with a 4.5 because I genuinely do feel it's a trade-off, isn't it? So like I feel like everything with these reviews is there's a slight trade-off.
Yeah.
So they are easily the most comfortable headphones I've ever worn, and for that, that's a huge win for me in a lot of respects. Because I listen to so much stuff. I'll constantly listen to something. Right, there's always a podcast or music or something going on, pretty much. And when I say I'm awake a lot longer than most people. Like I'm awake predominantly about 18 hours of the day. So like for me to have that ability to kind of forget they're on and just really feel comfortable and feel really well ventilated, that's a great thing. Musically, I thought they sounded great. I thought they handled a lot of what I put through it with ease. Maybe not on the exceptional level that we've had some other ways, but not in a place where I could like go, all right, it's really lacking in the bass. It didn't have that. So out the box, I don't think you have to do a huge amount of fucking around with them if you are someone with an eclectic music taste. Let me put it that way. On the negatives, you've hit the nail on the head. The noise cancelling to me is not great. And which would be fine if it was a lesser element, but this is 2025, right? And headphones now that advertise noise cancelling have a standard to live up to, so it kind of almost makes me feel in the design of it, depending on who was maybe more louder in the room, certain things have been done exceptionally well at the risk of things being done. Nothing on this is poor.
Yeah.
Even the noise cancelling isn't poor. It's just we expect better now. As consumers, we're spoiled. We expect something at a slightly higher value.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm going to come in with my score.
Nice.
What about you?
I'm coming in at a 4 out of 5 on these ones. I thought a lot of the stuff is excellent here. So like comfort-wise, fantastic. Like as we said, probably the most comfortable pair of headphones I've ever used. The look and the feel, fantastic. I love the look of these. Battery life, excellent. Bluetooth, did as advertised really. Noise cancelling, kind of bad, to be honest.
Mid. That's what the kids say. It's mid, Dave.
It's mid. Yeah, it's very mid. The app is garbage. That would do my head in. The sound, yeah. Once I got them kind of optimized for my preference, great. I thought it sounded brilliant across multiple genres. Straight out of the box, I wasn't as impressed, but a little bit of tweaking, that's absolutely fine. I don't mind. Like I usually would EQ headphones anyway, so that's not a big deal. The app is just not great. The case, obviously, nice wee addition. Seems quite sturdy. Price for me was a little high at 400. I think what I would say is though, even though they're on Amazon at 400, if you look around, you'll find there's certain points of the year there's deals on these.
Yeah.
Where you'll get them less than 400. I have seen them down around the kind of 300, 330 kind of mark. So there are times where these will drop down in price. So if you can get them at a lower price, then yeah, absolutely worth it. So I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on these ones. But yeah, at the right price, I would definitely buy these, 100%. Okay, so that is a review of the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay HX headphones. I'll put some links below to the headphones themselves where you can check them out online. And let us know what you think. If you're thinking of buying a pair, if you've got a pair, happy to hear your thoughts and opinions on them. That's the review. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back with another tech review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.